18, motherfuckers. Yo, welcome back to episode 18. We're back, another episode. Some more shit chat. We were meant to record this on Friday, but why don't you tell them why we didn't record? Sorry, we were meant to record on Saturday. Why didn't we record on Saturday, Dwayne? Where were you? What was going on? What's going on, mate? You were hungover? Is that right? Coward. Is this recording? Is that why you're not saying anything?
Nah, it's recording.
Oh, you fucking reel me in. Is that why, mate?
I just wanted to just see you sit there for a bit, with no response and no one here.
I'd like you to address why we weren't recording Saturday. I was ready to go.
I got slightly tipsy on Friday night, and then I just felt awful yesterday.
You weren't at a party, were you?
No.
You weren't partying?
You're not allowed to party.
I was going to say, you weren't over in a group bigger than 5.
No, you're not even allowed a group of bigger than 5. You're not allowed to be around people inside.
Yeah, I was going to say, because our law-abiding listeners wouldn't want to hear things like that, as we're, meant to be role models and all
Plus,
that bollocks.
I'm double vax, so...
Oh, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, man doesn't break laws and that.
I know, it's the new chat-up line. It's the new chat-up line, isn't it?
But, if you were to go up to a girl and be like, what vaccine did you get? And they're like...
Pfizer?
Yeah, she's not Pfizer, then I'm not about it.
Oh, you're Astra?
Yeah. It's like a social status now, isn't it?
Oh, God.
Social status.
Yeah. Babe, you've
be
got to be looking Pfizer. Oh, my God.
My
God damn.
Love a bit of Pfizer. Pretty much most of our friends are now double vax, aren't they? Or were they getting there?
Yeah, pretty much.
Slowly but surely.
Expected to be double vax, I think, within the... What is it? They're saying 80% by... Well, they're starting to lift some restrictions on the 10th or 11th, maybe?
Yeah, they think they will be at 80% by the 11th.
Yeah.
And then the Monday we're going to be free. I'm like a bird, I always fly away.
It was crazy.
I don't know where my home is.
Friday was mad. So in Bondi, there's a big bit of green. Anyone who's not from here, who's listening, because there's be thousands of you by now. There's a big bit of green, and it was just absolutely rammed and packed, and it was just so weird to see because it feels like just life is going back to normal, which is nice, really nice.
It was a bit intense though. There's way too many people.
Yeah,
because obviously the law is now that if you're double vaxxed, you're allowed to be outside in groups of 5, and obviously a lot of people in Bondi would be double vaxxed by now.
Yeah.
But the issue is whenever you go out in groups of 5 in an area that's not that big, it kind of looks like a group of 150,000 people.
Everyone's just in groups of 5, but just piled together. Yeah, mate, we're all in 5s, but we're all just standing next to each other.
There was a lot going on. But at the start, because I'd gone down in the afternoon because the weather was really good. Just finish off my day, company Zoom call, just by the beach, and it was pretty empty at the time. And there's police come around asking people for their either IDs to show that they lived in the area. Or that they were double vaxxed, and they were there for maybe 45 minutes, and then they kind of left, and then that was pretty much it. But I actually don't think the police really care, especially when it's the East.
Either. Yeah, I don't think so either. Yeah, because we are, obviously we're more privileged here.
Yeah,
we're allowed to do whatever the fuck we want. Yeah,
white people, you just get away with it, bloody everything.
Mate, you're lucky. You're a part of us. You can get involved as well. You get away with it as well.
I get the fear when I see them. It's like, Oakley, come here, right beside me.
Yeah, the police come up to you. Why have you coerced all these white people to come out with you in a large group? What's going on here? What is going on here?
But it's funny though, because even on the way you have 9 News Sydney, and then they obviously do a lot of reporting on COVID and stuff. They did a post about the fact that Manly and Bondi were crazy, both crazy. And on Friday night, the police had to tell the people to go home, and loads of people commenting tell them to go home. If this was Southwest Sydney, they'd be arrested and shot. I'm just there is a massive discrepancy between how, and it's kind of annoying, but there's a massive discrepancy between how people are treated in the East and the northern beaches compared to out the West. It's literally night and day.
Yeah, it's militant compared.
Oh yeah.
Would you politely ask these ladies and gentlemen to vacate the area? That'd be quite nice.
Then out west is tear gases and
get the fuck inside.
Yeah, but
run.
That reminded me of that song.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, is that the song?
Run. Yeah. Edit that in if you can. That's a little.
I might do.
Yeah, it's a good one.
We might have to pay for it though.
Yeah.
No, I'm joking.
No, you don't.
No, not.
Yeah.
No,
But yeah, no, it's good. It's good. It's nice. We've got a couple of things booked in afterwards, and it's cool, man. It's cool. It's nice. It's a good time. I'm happy.
How have you been since our last?
It's been like 2 weeks.
I didn't ask how long it's been since the last recording.
I'm thinking, what's been going on the last couple of weeks?
How have you been since your last recording? It's been 2 weeks.
I've been pretty good. The weather's been like mediocre, but no, I've been good.
The weather's been unreal.
Oh, it's been like up and down. We've had a few rainy days.
The weather's literally been class. There's been like 2 bad days.
Has it?
Yes.
Wow, I just haven't been paying attention.
That sounds like you.
Well, there we go. I've been fantastic. Yeah, I've been fucking great.
Yeah, it's been a good couple of weeks. I've got my Invisalign in.
Oh yeah,
which is great.
Hashtag ad.
I don't know if you can all hear it, but I actually don't think you can.
No.
Yeah, because my dentist and stuff was like, oh, you may have like a slight lisp, because they were asking like, oh, what I do for work. Then I have to talk a lot. Like, not really, but I do a podcast, and he and her were just like saying, oh, just in case you may end up with a lisp, but it doesn't actually sound that bad.
Sounds fun. You're like an influencer now, so this is like a paid ad. Are you going to talk about Machina as well? By the way, I got this new, in case you know it, this protein powder I've got outside. Musashi, yeah.
And as you all expect, because Dan does everything that I do, Dan has booked in for a consultation for Invisalign a week. He's never mentioned Invisalign to me once. Not once.
Because you know what?
Not once. And then literally a week into me getting my first aligners in, Dan was just like, so I booked in for a consultation to get
real funny, mate. Bit of a coincidence. I've actually booked in myself to see Invisalign as well a week after. Nah, look, the reason for that...
And he also got the same pair of trainers as me as well. It's becoming an issue.
It's black Nikes.
It's becoming an issue.
Look, you should... Shut up! You should feel... Sorry, police outside. There's probably some serious stuff happening. We're recording. Do you know what? You should feel flattered, mate.
No, imitation isn't flattery. It's just annoying me.
Well, do you know what? I see a few bits and pieces. I'm like, oh, I like that. I like that. That's nice, cool. You know, do the same with a couple of other our mates. Not all of them, but some of them. You know, like Jack. I've seen some of his stuff. I'm like, oh, that's quite cool.
Yeah.
I'll nick some of that. Seen some of yours. I'll nick some of that, and start getting a repertoire of things here and there. The Invisalign thing, I think it was like you did it, and then a couple of other mates. My other mate has done it from work, and I was like, I never really like thought of doing it, but now I'm like, oh, maybe it would be. And I've seen pictures before and after, and but like honestly, apart from that and dreads, I'm not doing anything else that you're gonna do. I have ordered a black pug though. Do you know what I mean? But I'm calling him Pokeley, not Oakley.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
there's a bit of a difference there. He's also, as he said, he's got the same trainers as me as well.
I'm in black Vans today.
Yeah. But I'll give it a couple of weeks and you'll see the new Nike trainers, I'm sure.
I'm thinking of getting some pink and black ones. So go on, mate. Enlighten me.
What do you want me to enlighten you on?
What's some stuff on your agenda for today?
Oh, agenda. Well.
Go on.
There's one thing. So the past couple of weeks have been intense in terms of what the hell's been happening across the world. There's been what's been happening in Haiti. I don't know if you know about what's happening in Haiti. Yeah, I can just tell by your face.
I tried to hide it.
You literally know nothing of what's going on.
No, I don't.
What's happening in Haiti?
Yeah, I'm not going to steal your thunder, man.
Nah, steal it. I love when my thunder's stolen.
I feel bad. I don't want to do that. You've come in with this energy, and like, I don't want to take that off. Yeah, now go on, you go for it. And I'll confirm if what you've read is correct, of course, just to make sure we're giving out correct information.
But pretty much, obviously, Haiti's leader president was assassinated a couple of months ago, and then they've had a lot of natural disasters over the past couple of months, so their whole country has been completely destabilized and destroyed, and there's just been hundreds and thousands of Haitians that have like fled the country from Haiti through South America up through Central America, and now trying to seek asylum in America. And obviously Americans law, if people are seeking asylum, like, they have to let them in.
Yeah.
But at the moment, there's literally hundreds of thousands of Haitians literally on the border of Texas, and they won't let them in. Have you not seen the pictures of, like, literally these rangers on horses, like, whipping people?
No.
Oh, my God.
I'm joking. No.
I literally share my story.
No.
I'm baffled. I'm baffled.
It's alright, you're educating me. You're educating me.
I don't want to educate you. You should educate yourself.
Go on. No, carry on.
But yeah, so pretty much that's the issue in Haiti at the moment, and the fact that 100,000 are trying to get to. Because in my head now, whenever I think people have this misconception of when someone tries to seek asylum in another country, there's like this very negative connotation towards it. But if you see the pictures, there is literally babies being carried by their like fathers through like a river. Like they're literally having to hold their baby like this through a river. And I'm like looking at that thinking, no parent or no human would ever like put themselves through that much risk just to survive, unless it was it was their only option.
Yeah.
Like apparently they were literally traveling through South America through like some of the most dangerous like jungles areas, and like hundreds of them have just died on the way there because they see America and getting to the States as literally their only option for survival. And again, America for hundreds of years have painted this picture that they're the land of the free, and this is the home of the brave, and this is where you come for your freedom, where America's probably the last place you'd want to go as a person of color at the moment.
What's happened? Like, so they're trying to get in. Have they been quite welcoming in terms of
like opposite. They've literally put up barricades of like vehicles along like the borders. They're like trying to close off each and every single border crossing. There's like a river that you can cross from Mexico into the States, and it's one of those rivers where you can actually open up the stream and like control how much water comes through, and they've actually opened it so like the river like level goes higher, so it's harder for people to cross.
It's like people forget about humanity when it comes to that. Do you know what I mean? It's like, mate, we're all on the same planet, we're all on the same earth. I think in regards when everything happened, and obviously what's going on at the moment with Afghanistan and stuff like that, and had loads of people coming over to Australia. I don't know like the extent, but as far as I'm aware, Australia were being quite welcoming.
Yeah.
I know that like Airbnb opened their doors to loads of people for.
Yeah, that was the Airbnb thing was a worldwide thing.
Oh right.
Yeah,
okay,
it was just like pretty much every anyone who was willing to, Airbnb was gonna like cover the cost if they're willing to like allow people to stay in their empty.
Are there not laws? So would there not be like a law in a country? Because I don't know much about politics, but would there not be a law in a country where if like there are certain loopholes that if people seek asylum due to X, Y, Z, there would be capabilities for them to find asylum?
What do you mean?
Like, would there be kind of laws in place at the moment where obviously, if let's say if I want to be in Australia, I need to be on a partner visa or a sponsorship, I need to do that.
Oh, no.
But I'm like, listen, I've come here because
that's what America has. So America literally has a law, like if someone is seeking asylum and fleeing their country, like
they're allowed entry.
The law is like you have to let them in. But at the moment, like they're just not abiding by the law. They're literally just not.
Aren't there like ramifications though from not abiding by that law?
There should be, but at the moment they're not really concerned. I think the issue is it's the numbers thing as well. I think obviously because there's like so many of them, they're like, what are we gonna do when we let them in, kind of thing. And now I read a couple of days ago, the Biden administration is now, for one, some Haitians that were getting into the country were getting flown back into Haiti, which I was like, what the hell's that? And also the Biden administration. Biden's the president of the United States.
I know that.
Okay,
I got that one.
Just to make sure that we're all on the same level.
Yeah.
They're now looking at external contractors to like create these campsites in Guantanamo Bay to like host these Haitians. Do you know Guantanamo Bay?
Yeah. I've seen Prison Break.
What's Guantanamo Bay?
It's like a place where like for prisoners.
Okay, yeah.
Like I said, mate, I've seen Prison Break.
Okay. So like they're pretty much like they're trying to look at external contractors, pretty much these organizations who want to make billions of dollars to just like pretty much have these Haitians in like camps in Guantanamo Bay where like pretty much there's no law there. Like guards can do whatever they want to prisoners in Guantanamo Bay without any ramifications because no one would ever find out.
But they're not sending them there as prisoners because they're not prisoners.
They're not sending them as quote unquote prisoners, but they're probably going to end up in like a situation that would almost be identical.
Well, what's
to
on
that.
Guantanamo Bay? Is it just like a prison? Is that pretty much all it is?
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Fuck.
Yeah.
That's the world we live in at the moment.
It's crazy. Man. It makes you feel a lot more. So I always think, mate, it could be a lot worse. When shit happens, you're having a really tough day. Shit could be a lot fucking worse.
Yeah, that's a horrible way to look at it.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Be grateful for the position you're in.
Yeah, I guess.
Things could be a lot worse, mate. You could be a lot more unfortunate. You're quite lucky with the life you've got, what you can do, your capabilities. So
But then sometimes you think it's whenever you've been blessed with a situation where you are fortunate that there's more that you should do with the fortunes that you have. Do you ever feel like that?
what, in terms of like volunteer work, charity
Not
work, and
even
stuff like that?
yeah,
What do you mean?
not even like that, but like, do you ever feel like sometimes? Because for me, sometimes I'm like chilling, working every day, doing this podcast, and I'll see stuff in the news like that, and I guess it's more from my point because I'm like a black person, and
Fuck off! No way.
swear, don't tell anyone
I
though.
won't. I'll keep
My
it under
accent
wraps.
gives it away.
I like that.
But you know,
Oh,
because
God.
I guess because I'm like a black person, and I see so many people that look like me
Yeah.
go through so much shit, and sometimes I'm like, is there more? Sometimes I feel like I should be doing more, but I literally don't know. I don't know what I can do or what I'm capable of doing.
I think
yet.
from what I've seen, you're quite proactive on social media. When stuff comes up, you've made IGTVs when stuff was happening with like Black Lives Matter and stuff like that. You know, you're quite proactive. When there's been like conversations or debates, again, you're quite proactive. You won't just sit back if a statement's made. You at least want to understand where that's come from. So, I mean, I think that you do everything. I think that, I don't know how to say it. You know, you're doing what you can. There's always more we can do.
Yeah.
But I think that you're very proactive.
I think one thing I always try and do, especially with my
educating people and stuff like that.
With my social media, because social media is such a powerful tool, and that's where most people now, within our generation, the generation after us, and some before us, are starting to use that as their main source of content and news. I definitely try to like sometimes like push the conversation. So I would share something, and if someone messages me about it, I'll always try and engage.
Yeah.
Because I feel like as much as there's more I could do, I think having an engaging conversation about these topics is so important. And like, I'm not even there in terms of conversation where I'm trying to educate people, because I'm done like with that. If you want to learn about whatever the hell's going on, don't start messaging people about it. Literally just go and look yourself about what's happening in Haiti, about what's happening in Afghanistan, what happens with women rights in Texas, like all that sort of stuff. Like, I never really messaged someone and like asked them, oh my God, what's going on? Like, tell me.
Because it's such a loaded.
Yeah, it's just like, where do you want me to start?
Do you want me to give you like 3 bullet points? Yeah, I get that. I understand that. It's quite irritating.
Well, this all started 200 years ago. Do you want me to start from there? You know what I mean? It's like,
I get where you're coming from.
Whenever you're that interested in something or genuinely interested in something, like, you will go and look for yourselves.
Yeah.
And I can actually gauge whenever someone messages me on Instagram. So if you do this, I can tell. If like they message me and they actually don't know anything about the conversation, and sometimes just feel like they just message just to show face. Like, people would like message just to like say something so they think that you actually care, or that you are doing your bit to like educate yourself or other people, but it's like so obvious.
Do you mean people do it to make
themselves look good?
Yeah, to make themselves look good.
Yeah,
I understand that.
Yeah, people do it all the time, and like, I'm just like, it's so obvious. It's so obvious.
I think people really don't think when they're doing that how it comes across. But yeah, I get it. Like, I get it. When you're putting like something on Instagram, and obviously something you know quite a lot about, and something that you would think, and it is a really big thing happening at the moment, and someone just go, oh, what's happening? You're like, what the fuck do you mean what's happening?
Yeah.
Like, if it looks so big to you that you need to ask me, before asking, just probably have a look yourself.
Have a look, yeah.
Yeah, because it's not, No, I understand that. But I think in relation to your question, do you ever feel like you should do more? I mean, it's personal preference. You can always do more. But I think what you do day to day, I think it's good. Yeah. You know, outside of, going to those countries, or, going to do volunteer work and stuff like that, which, we all have our own lives at the end of the day, and it is a personal choice, and whatever you want to do, you can't fight for every single cause. That's just not how life is.
100% agree with that.
And I think that's where, like, a lot of messages do get confused, because people expect you to be like
saturated.
A good human across the board, and unfortunately, like, not everyone can do everything, and you've got your causes and your fights and all this kind of thing. So, I think in regards to where you are in your life, if you feel happy with it, well then, mate, you're doing the right thing.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think because there's so much shit going on in the world, it is really easy to kind of like spread like your attention to so many things, to the point where things don't get done. So I remember once I was a little bit tipsy in a McDonald's, and I was sitting down and I was having my meal, and at this time they were still using plastic straws. And
seems like ages ago.
And this drunk girl was just like, oh my goodness, I can't believe you're using a plastic straw. And I was a little bit tipsy, and I was just like, I just lost it. I was like, what are you talking about? It's like,
say?
you're bloody at McDonald's using a plastic straw as
You
well.
got it wasn't to you. You just
No,
like,
she was just saying it to me.
I said it to you.
And I was like, what are you talking about? Just like, you're literally in McDonald's drinking from a plastic straw as well. Why are you giving off of me? It's like, if you cared about the turtles, and I was like, shut your mouth.
I bet you didn't. I bet you didn't make her a coffee in the morning, did you?
Yeah, funny.
Absolutely not.
But I went in and just like, you can't expect everyone to be fighting for every single cause
100%.
in this world. You don't know who I am. You don't know what I do
100%.
outside of this. I could be fighting for something else. And then there's like, if I was to fight for every single bad thing that's happened in this world, then nothing would get done. So just because I'm drinking plastic straw doesn't mean I'm not already fighting for something else. Fighting for animal rights, fighting for Black Lives Matter, fighting for LGBTQ community. Like you can't like disperse your attention to everything, because then literally nothing would get done. That's why you have these different
100%.
organizations. That's why you have different parts of medicine who are like focusing on leukemia, who's focusing on heart disease, who's focusing on like arthritis.
Yeah, 100%.
You're not going to tell someone working on arthritis like, you're a piece of shit. Why do you not care about heart disease or lung disease? It's like, no, they're there doing that. They're there doing that, and all of us together doing our own individual passion is making the healthcare system better, or we're making the world better. So if someone's like doing something that you don't, if someone eats meat, shut your mouth. Go away.
Yeah.
You want to be vegan, be vegan.
I think at the end of the day, if someone comes to the conversation with that kind of attitude, there's not really much rationalization there. Like, you just fuck them off anyway.
They're just
like, if someone's coming to you with that, it's like, I don't need to give this energy to this conversation.
I don't.
I did learn when I was doing my first proper sales job out of uni, I was a street fundraiser, so signing people up to like direct debits. Whenever I tell people that I did that as a job, I always get the same reaction. It's like, oh, you were one of those people.
You're the ones that like try to make eye contact with. I love your t-shirt, man.
Oh my god, what did you drop?
Oh my goodness. I love your hat, love your smile. Shut up.
I never had those cheesy lines. I was really good at my job. Okay. But I know when I'd get into conversations with people, and you'd have like your assumptions, which everyone does. Fuck, I bet they don't do anything. You're in the conversation. Let's see if I can get them to sign up. Oh, they're just lazy and all this. And from talking to people, you actually find out that you really have no idea what goes on behind closed doors. Because I would speak to people and they're like, I actually donate to X, Y, Z, or I do. And not that saying that giving to charity is the be all and end all in terms of what you can do, because it isn't. Because, massive conglomerate charities, lots of the money don't go to where it's aimed to go. 100%. But at the end of the day, the person, it's for the person. As well. It's for the person what they're doing. They're doing that for them, which is fine. And it's, I would speak to people and it's like, fuck, they're actually, doing what they consider quite a bit. And that's fair. That's fair. And you can't judge people because they don't have the same beliefs as you, and you can't push your beliefs on other people. Everyone just do your own thing and just give other people a bit of a break. And, any Karens out there, just back in your fucking box.
Yeah. Did you ever find, I'm not sure which one you're working for. You obviously don't say it, but did you find whenever, we'll just check your LinkedIn.
Yeah. No. Wouldn't have said, because I worked for an agency.
Oh, okay.
And an agency, we represented charities. Okay. I never worked direct for the charity.
But did you find that was the biggest issue whenever you were trying to like set people up? They were like, ooh, like they'd probably think it was a bit dodgy because.
Well, they'd say, look, I know that a portion of the money, like a large portion of it, doesn't get to where it's needed to be.
Yeah.
And there would be things that we could say to like objection handle that. Like as always, if that. And I do believe this, they're like, fundraisers being on the street, doing what they do has increased revenue for charities exponentially.
Yeah.
I do think that.
Yeah.
Because, you're forcing someone to do something, or you're pushing someone into a decision-making process. So I do think there is a benefit to it. But in regards to charities, I know that, I don't know the full ins and outs, but that would be a big issue. People are like, well, people who are more educated than me, I can't fight them on it.
Yeah.
If they're like, well, actually, I know about this one, and 60, I'm like, well, mate, I'm done. But I would, be able to
the general
convince,
public.
The more like Gen Pop, the ones who aren't like completely in the know, to make a decision to get me my sales.
Yeah, because some of those like heads of those charities are on massive money. Yeah. But then sometimes I'm like,
it's a business though. I said this to people. It's a business.
I was gonna say like sometimes it's like they're a lot of money, but then me thinking about it from like a holistic point of view, it's like this is like a charity that is helping millions, and by helping millions, you need thousands of workers, and by having thousands of workers, you need people at certain levels 100%. On the hierarchy to be able to like keep the engine running. And Yes, a charity, but you can't expect people to work for free.
No,
You know what I mean?
people would say this to me. So I'd be fundraising. They'd be like, "You get paid to do this." I'm like, "Yeah."
Obviously.
Do you have a job? And they go, "Yeah." I'm like, "Do you get paid?" And they go, "Yeah." I'm like, "Fucking scandalous, that, isn't it?"
Yeah.
And they go, "Oh, I suppose so." I'm like, "Well, exactly, mate. What do you want me to do?" But yeah, it was a good job. Very, very fun job. I loved it. It was my first proper job out of uni, outside of selling other things in uni. It was my first proper job and legal job. And
Why do you have to say that?
I didn't say anything, mate. Don't worry about it. I'm not going to throw my dealer under the bus.
Oh my goodness gracious me.
Anyway, I honestly loved it. It was wicked. Just engaging with people every day, having the chat, and just it really, I guess, springboarded me to know that I really wanted to be in sales. Yeah, it was so fun. I think
Kick to the gab.
if you can do that kind of job, which is pretty difficult by any standard, I think, because I've trained salespeople before.
Yeah, I don't think I would enjoy it.
Well, I used to train. I've had trained in fundraising, telesales, stuff like that. I've trained in like a number of different industries, and I always think if you can do that really well, you're like very resilient and persistent. And I think they're really good attributes. And a lot of other managers who I speak to, a lot of their top salespeople have come from industries like that.
Yeah.
Where you just have to just keep going no matter what, and you don't care. It's like water off a duck's back.
Yeah.
So,
I know you're definitely persistent. That's for sure.
yeah.
Yeah. Your sales tactics don't work with me though.
I don't try hard enough. That's why.
Let me take a drink. Ah, bloody lovely. But yeah, that's I wanted to go on that massive bit of a tangent about Haiti.
That's
there.
an interesting topic. I like it.
There's other stuff, but we'll save that for another day.
Maybe everyone wants to listen to the main topic, what we'd like to discuss. Wait, what else have you got there?
What do you mean?
What else have you got there?
That was the main topic.
Oh, is that the main topic?
I was thinking about.
Do you know what I've noticed actually? On all these pods, I listen back to you. Whenever you like go to bring something up, you're always like, "So I was thinking the other day," and you say the same sentence every day before you talk about the topic. You're always like, "I was thinking the other day."
Because I always think.
I know, but it's always. So I was thinking the other day. It's just you always say that same sentence.
I'm a thinker.
The other day, I was having a thought.
I always think.
Yeah, go on.
So I was on Instagram.
Yeah, of course.
And
being an influencer.
Shut up, you absolute delinquent.
I'm just jealous, mate. I just want to swipe up.
I can't remember the name of this podcast. It's called, I think, 8 at the Table or something. It's called. It's an American one, and they talk about relationships, and they're quite intense with because they have different people on different episodes, and they're quite intense in terms of the type of topics and even just the opinions. Mm-hmm. Just a lot of them are just very American to the point where like some of the women are just like, yeah, if I had a man, like I wouldn't expect to pay for anything, like that kind of like.
I think I've seen clips like this.
But this one was this guy was talking about pretty much the difference between having a high sex drive and a high sexual appetite.
Cool.
So let me get the definition of.
Yeah, give me a definition. You explained it before, but it's
the definition of appetite.
Appetite would be hunger. If I was like related to what we do, appetite would be hunger. Desire would be a want. So.
Why desire?
Well, desire, I don't know. Desire, you want something. It's like an idea. It's like a preference.
Wait, where's the word desire come from?
You just said appetite and desire.
Drive.
Oh, sorry, drive. Sorry, appetite and drive.
Yeah.
Drive.
So appetite is a natural desire to satisfy bodily need, especially for food.
So it's a natural. Okay, cool.
And then he was pretty much talking about high sex drive versus high sex appetite. Mm-hmm. So the way I was like, okay, what does that mean? So the way he explained is like your appetite, a high sex appetite is your want to try different things. Mm-hmm. Try different women, or if you're a woman, or whatever you're into. Yeah, try male or female, different, whatever.
Yeah.
But your high sex drive is your like almost your level of being able to do it with one person. So for example, I've dated girls who don't sleep around. Mm-hmm. So that I would count them having low sex appetite. But when you're with them, like their drive is up there, like they would just want it all the time. Mm-hmm. Whereas like you may couple of lads, I would count them as having high sex appetite because they could like sleep with loads of different women. They could sleep with a different girl every night and be fine with it. But I wouldn't count their sex drive as high because when they're seeing someone, like they wouldn't like their you want for shagging or sleeping with that person constantly is not as high as if they were single and able to like sleep with countless different people. So, for example, yourself.
What's about to happen?
I'm joking. I'm trying to use someone as an example.
You'll be able to see my look as you go back through this. What's he about to do?
No, so I would
Is that the bus coming?
I would consider like someone with a high sex drive, someone who doesn't sleep around, but when they're in a relationship, like their level of wanting sex is like 10 out of 10.
Sorry, can you say that again? So you would consider someone
with a high sex drive, someone who doesn't feel the need to want to sleep with different men.
Okay, cool. Can you have a high sex drive and a high sex appetite?
Yeah, obviously sex is on a spectrum, so yes.
No, okay. Well, I'm just trying to get an understanding.
Yeah,
okay,
you wouldn't be able to be like, yeah, I don't have a high sex drive, but I have a sex appetite. But
so would you say drive is more to do with being with one person, or can drive still be with? Yeah, I'm just trying to.
Based on what he said and based on the conversation I've had with a couple of people, they're like normally the drive. You only really know more about the drive whenever you're with that one person.
So it's only with the one. Okay, cool.
Because I think the key to knowing if you have a high sex drive is whenever you're with that one person, and if you're able to still want, if your level of like sexual drive or arousal with them is like the same over like a longer period of time. So obviously when you first get with someone,
it's never going to be like that though, is it?
Not necessarily.
Because you go up and downs, you know what I mean? You're not always going to be shagging like 5-6 times a week.
Yeah, but like it could.
You could, but like in relationships and stuff, you go like it is up. It's always going to be up and down. Like no way has someone been with someone for 20. Okay, exception doesn't make the rule. In general, you know, people have been dating for like 30, 40 years. Yeah. So like every week, 6 times a week, we have been shot. I'm like, but then
also, the sex drive I don't think even has to be with the, what's the word? Like the frequency. It could just be in terms of your want for it, if that makes sense. Like whenever you in that moment, is it like still passionate? Are you still having a great time? Or are you just going through the motions? Because if your sex drive is low, you can still have sex and just do it and then stop.
I was probably I would say I was going through the motions at one point, probably.
Yeah.
With my ex and stuff like that.
And that's because
I was probably just there because I was like, I feel like it just
Whereas like I think with the appetite thing, more so if you're someone who's willing to sleep around, that would count as an appetite because your quote unquote drive may be high, but it's only because what you're trying is new. Because you're out with a new girl, so you're probably gonna like try and perform to make sure she thinks you're good in bed.
Really? Yes. Yes. Yeah, you'd want to at least last like more than 2 minutes, definitely. I'd say it's like a minimum 2 minutes, you reckon?
Shit.
Yeah. That's interesting. I do like that. I think that just thinking before when you were like, so anyway, what I think you are. I do like that though. I think that's quite. So what would you, without, I don't know if this is like throwing each other under the bus, what would you say should we not answer that? Is that not something?
I've been through stages.
I think it's stages. I think when I first became single, I was predominantly appetite.
Yeah.
Like massively.
Yeah.
When now it's like that's not always on my mind 24/7. I'm more into like, I have a good time with someone, and if I'm having fun, it like adds to it. Like quite often, if it's just sex alone and there's nothing else, it gets very boring after a while, and I'm like, this is just dull.
Yeah.
And it's very boring, and you know.
You always need to be stimulated in multiple different ways for someone to keep your attention. That has to be intellectual, physical, emotional, whatever. All the alls that there are. Like, and that's how something is ever gonna like last as long as you'd like it to be. There has to be something about that person that is literally ticking. There could be like a minimal amount of boxes that they have to tick, and if they're not hitting that, say you have 4 things that you want someone to like, boxes you want to tick with someone. If they're not hitting that 4, then it's just not gonna last. So I guess like you could meet a really good looking girl, good looking guy,
Mm-hmm.
and you hit it off. But then after spending maybe 3 or 4 dates with them, or 4 separate times with them, you realize like you're just getting bored because there's nothing else about them that's like intriguing you or enticing you or leaving you wanting more.
Yeah.
Because you're not being stimulated in all those singular aspects of you that you'd like them to. That's what I find anyway.
I think that relates to like the whole having sex thing on a first date. I think it doesn't matter if you have sex with someone on a first date. If they're interested in you, they're interested in you. And it doesn't mean they're going to be less interested just because you sleep with them, because if you bring more to the table than that, they're going to be encapsulated by those other parts of you.
Yeah, I agree.
So, yeah.
But then also, so like whenever, you can also flip that and say about if you give yourself the chance to show them those other aspects of you, there is a higher chance that they may stay longer or stay with you.
What do you mean? Isn't that what I just said? Is that different to what I just said?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
So you're just not, because I'm just like being devil's advocate, because how people would maybe argue. It's like if someone sleeps in the first date and they leave you, then at least you know you're not going to waste time. But it's like if that's the only thing that you're using to keep them there, that's the issue.
Oh,
you know
100%. I mean? Yeah, you can't be using your pussy as a currency when it comes to it doesn't work.
But then also it's like sometimes if people do hold off a little bit longer and create, as the boy Detox says, a sense of mystery, or create a sort of relationship within themselves where they get to learn about each other a little bit more, learn to understand each other a little bit more, like the intellectual side of it, maybe there's some more emotional side of it that might heighten the sexual experience, and then there's probably a better chance that it's going to last longer. But I think obviously every time it's going to be situational.
Yeah, it's always different.
Yeah, like there is no, and I think that's the thing whenever it comes to like the life of dating. There's so much information and so much advice out there, and a lot of the information and advice is unreal, and it's really good to see different points of view. But like literally every single person that you date or end up with is just going to be so different.
100%.
So whatever technique you use or whatever way of approaching a situation with one person that you used and it worked, like literally it's probably not going to work. You could literally do the exact same thing with your next partner, and they'll be like, no. Like, and then that's the goals comes down to attachment styles and love languages. Like what you did for your ex that worked really well in the first 3 dates could literally shut up. I'm sorry about that. I was gonna say her name there, but but like whatever you did with your ex the first few dates that maybe would have wooed her, that probably won't work or may not work with the next person. You know what I mean? And I think people need to understand, like, you need to take each situation and each person you date on a different person basis kind of thing. Can't remember. I don't know what word I was looking for there, but a case to case basis. Pretty much. You know 100%. What I mean? Like this person enjoyed that, but that we've broken up, so maybe my approach needs to be slightly different.
I would relate a lot of that to what I do, like in sales, like with my job. Just because you sell to one client successfully, it doesn't mean how you sold to them the stuff is going to work with someone else, because they have different needs, different wants, different problems, different solutions for that. It's never going to be the same. There could be similarities, but it's never going to be dead on. You know, one line for them isn't going to be the same for one line for another. So 100%. It's definitely case by case, and it's being intuitive. When do you think is what's one of the questions I had here? It was, so I was having a thought the other day.
You think?
How long does it take to move on? How long would it take you to move on? And let's put it in the context, let's say from a proper relationship where you were dating for, I don't know, 2 years, maybe?
How long did it take you to move on?
Yeah, like what's the right time to move on? And how would you do that? How does one move on?
I don't think there is a
one size fits
There's
all.
no one size fits all. I think it also depends. It depends on how the relationship was. It depends on how it ended. It depends on who and when, who clocked out first and when they clocked out. Because I know a lot of people who have been in relationships and they were maybe in a 3 or 4 year relationship, and maybe for the last year they were on and off, or maybe for the last 6 months they kind of like just didn't care anymore. And it's like, was the moving on period 6 months from whenever you were still in that relationship to when it actually ended, and then maybe another 6? So that maybe the move on period was like a year.
Yeah, you could,
because they're already mentally moved on, but maybe physically they're like still in the relationship.
That's fair.
So I think again, case to case basis, and it just depends on the mindset. Because I think obviously when it comes to emotion, it comes about how you think about the relationship, how you look back on it. Do you look back on it fondly? Do you look back on it with distaste, with annoyance, with anger, with hatred? And I think that definitely has an impact on how you move on. And I think, again, men and women generally move on quite differently, I find.
I feel like men, I can't generalize, but I think when I broke up, I just wanted to just sleep around. Because, you know, it just like makes you not think about the stuff that you're having to deal with.
Yeah.
I think a lot of guys do that. They just like, you know, just go out and just shag as much as they can. But
again, people then also react or act very differently when they break up. For example, I rang, or when we were on the phone the other day, I was like, oh yeah, so-and-so just ignored me. You know what I mean?
Oh, you bumped into X name?
Yeah.
We're not going to say their name, but an individual who you might have bumped into.
Yeah, I bumped into an individual. I was like, hello. And she just like stared at my face, just stared me in the face and just walked on. And you know what I mean? Like,
it's very grown up if you're listening. Very mature.
But you know what I mean? Like, she obviously has to deal with however she wants to deal with the situation and move on the way she has to. But again, like that, there's been quite an elongated period of time since we were together.
Yeah.
And she's obviously still in some way start trying to process that. You know what I mean?
It's only human.
It is what it is.
She's seeing you pop up on Combank is not helping.
Getting money out of the ATM, and there I am.
Sitting there with the new mister watching TV, your face pops up. Well, this is awkward.
Apparently it popped up in Optus Sport last night.
Fucking check you out, mate.
No, but you know what I mean? That's how I think. What about you? What do you think is your...
Well, my mechanism, for moving on, I just try to sleep around as much as I can. Because I was in like a 3.5-year relationship.
No, but not even like what you did, but like what do you think the time frame is? Same question, like how long?
I feel like we mentally... I feel like it was going down the shitter for like a longer period of time. It wasn't just at the very end. Because obviously when you break up with someone, it's never just like... There's a lot of things that lead up to that point, you know. So it could have been happening for like 6 months. So it could have been happening for that period of time, but you know, how long does it take to move on? It really just depends. Like we ended in a very like mutual way where we just knew we weren't right for each other. So it's not like we were left, oh no, but I want to be with you, but you don't want to be with me. That would be slightly different. We ended very much, it was a mutual ground. So we knew it was for the best. So moving on was a lot easier, and she was able to get over it a lot quicker.
She was able to get over it quicker?
No. We were both able to get over it, like, you know, a quicker period of time. Obviously, there was like emotional pain there because you missed that person in your life, but it wasn't like, fuck, I really want to be with you. There was none of that. It was more just like, I'm going to miss your friendship and miss you around and, you know, miss those times. But, you know, in terms of like moving on, I think that it really just... Sorry, the question you said is how... What's the question? No, sorry, because I've gone on a tangent.
No, I was just saying, like, how long was it for you? How long do you think?
How long was it for me?
Yeah, or how do you think?
If I'm being really honest, how long?
The exact same question you asked me.
Yeah, sorry. I know, sorry, I forgot. How long it was for me, if I'm being honest, it wasn't a very long period of time. Like when I moved to Bondi,
But you'd already like mentally checked out, though, and emotionally checked out.
A couple of weeks.
You're in it.
Like a couple of weeks, I was already like kind of like getting back to like maybe like give it a month, probably a month to 6 weeks. I was like feeling back to normal. The first week it was awful.
Yeah.
But like, because we'd already mentally checked out, within 6 weeks, obviously moving to a new place, there were so many other like different variables. But within 6 weeks, I'd say I was like kind of moving back to normal. But you think so many distractions as well. I had parties and dates and, you know, so many distractions.
Do you think there's a difference between moving on
and just distracting yourself?
No, but a difference between moving on and also understanding that it was like the best decision. So like obviously people will end relationships and struggle to move on, but knowing that it was actually the right thing for them to do, if that makes sense.
There's a really interesting TikTok video I saw, and I wish I'd saved it because I would have played it. But he was, let me see if I've saved it.
You might have liked it.
I had this conversation with a friend last week who wanted to break up with her boyfriend. And she's like, I just don't want to hurt him. And I said, have you ever been really badly hurt in a relationship before? She said, yeah. I was like, how many times? She goes, 3. I said, what was the worst? She goes, this one. I said, what happened? She told me. I said, how bad was it? She said, so bad. I said, but when you look back on that pain now, what did you learn? And she started going, nothing. I said, no, what did you really learn? She goes, well, this and that and that. Oh, if not for that, I wouldn't have met this person, this and that, no. I was like, would you take that breakup out of your timeline now if you could? Like, would you? She goes, well, I guess now that you put it that way, no. I said, well, what if I paid you $1,000? Would you take it out of time? She goes, well, actually, no. So how grateful are you that he broke your heart? She goes, yeah, I guess I'm super grateful. I said, so why are you robbing this partner of that opportunity? Why are you robbing him of his growth? She goes, fuck, I'm ringing him right now. So don't ring him. Take a day, think about it, and then have a chat, which she did, and she exited the relationship in a beautiful and loving way without...
It's pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah, that's sick.
Really interesting. And I think so many people, they're like, I just feel bad and I don't want to hurt them.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you're hurting them by not being honest, because if it's not right for you, it's not right for them. If it's not right for them, it's probably not right for you.
Yeah, I think you have to look at relationships as blessings and lessons.
Yeah, 100%. So I wouldn't take any of it back.
Yeah, like I wouldn't take any of it back. But I think what you have to look at is that the lessons that you learn from previous relationships are going to benefit you for the blessings that you're going to receive in the future.
100%.
So yeah, maybe the relationship that you had with your last girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever didn't work out well, but the lessons that you learn from that will literally be so important for when the new person in your life, who will be your blessing, they will benefit from everything that you learned previously. And if you're not growing and developing and learning from every single situationship or relationship that you're in, then you're doing something wrong.
I think a lot of people, I think a lot of people going through situations, instead of trying to learn and, be self-reflective from a situation, they kind of just like, nah, fuck it, that person hurt me. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to shut myself off. I'm going to do this. And it's like, that is such a fixed, closed off mindset. Yeah. And you think that you're like getting back at them when you're doing it. You think you're showing the world that that's what it's done. But really, all you're doing is damaging yourself, and you're fucking up the next potential relationship you could be getting into. Exactly. So you're not doing anyone any favors, especially yourself, by doing that.
Yeah, because acting like that, like whoever hurt you before, like you acting like that is having no bearing in their life. They could be off doing whatever they want to do, better in their lives and themselves, and then you're pretty much there being bitter.
And that's great. That's great that they told you they're not interested in you. That's amazing. You now know that they're not interested in you. There's actually takes me on to like my next point. When do you think is the right time to walk away? We touched on this a couple of episodes, but I don't think we did like a real like...
When do you think it's the right time to walk away? Whenever the cons outweigh the pros. Whenever all the good things don't seem as good anymore, whenever all the bad things that you aren't enjoying about the relationship, all the things that aren't serving you, all the things that aren't allowing you to grow, all the things that aren't allowing you to become the person you want to be or know you can be, whenever those things in that relationship are hindering your growth and your development, I think that's when you need to move on. Whenever there's aspects of that person that you think may or may not change, I think that's when you need to move on. Whenever there's things that you've maybe asked them, whenever there's things you've maybe spoken about that openly to them and said, this is detrimental to our relationship, and if you keep doing this, like it's just not going to work. If they keep doing that, that's when you know it's time to move on. There's so many different aspects in relationships that will give you an idea as to whether this person is good for you, and I think so many people are able to see those bad things, but I think people are, whenever they look at their relationships, especially if it's been a long time, it's so they see it as an easier option just to stay, even though they know it's bad. So I think whenever the relationship isn't serving you, I think that's when you got to move on. And the serving could be different things, different levels of non-serving.
I think that it's a really good point. I think that I've just lost my main point. Give me a second. Yeah. I think so many people they get into these conversations. I was listening to something that Matthew Hussey did a couple of days ago, and it was really interesting. And so many people, they get into these moments where they have like threatening breakup conversations, or they break up and then they come back to each other. So as an example, you know, I did this in my previous relationship where, you know, I probably didn't handle it the best way due to a multitude of reasons. But, you know, you have these conversations where you're like, okay, we keep going back and forth. It's time to have the real chat. I think that we potentially won't work out. And then usually one partner goes, so you know what, I've decided I'm going to work on it. I'm going to change. I'm going to make these things better. And you go, okay, cool, sweet. And then 2 weeks later, you come back to that conversation again.
Yeah,
like, well, one minute. I really don't think we're going to work out. We've already tried to do this, and we've already tried to do that. And, you know, I really don't think we're going to work out. And, you know, like, you might go away and give that person another chance 1 or 2 times, or even 3 times if you want to. But it comes to a point where you need to really ask in like a soberly, you need to really ask in a complete sober way and not emotionally charged at all. Like when you do have that conversation, to ask what is actually going to change and why is it so important to you? Like, why is it actually going to change? Why is this going to be any different from any other conversation we've had where you settle back into inertia and we get back to normal living, where we start butting heads all the time? And why is it actually going to be different? Please answer me that in a completely unemotionally charged way. Why do you think it's actually going to change? And I think it's important to ask that, because if you're not putting in those steps and you're actually quantifying it, you know, what gets measured gets improved, nothing is really going to change. And so many people, and I did it, you can live with low-level chronic pain for years. You can. Like with your knee, you'd go football and it hurt a little bit and you went back, and you hurt a little bit and it went back, and then suddenly it's like, boom, you hit a crescendo. I now can't play anymore.
Yeah.
And so many people, they live with that low-level chronic pain until it's too far. And I think those signs, those early on signs of having those kind of conversations is when you need to have that kind of conversation of genuinely, why do you care enough that it will change? And if you can't answer that question, it's probably then time to walk away.
And even when you ask why, and they say, this is why, or this is what I'm going to do, I think the next question is like, how? How are you going to do that? You know what I mean?
Are you seeing a relationship counselor? Well, what are you listening to? What are you writing down? Because I said I would do these things, but I never did.
Yeah.
I'm going to work on this. I'm going to do that. But I never really did.
Yeah.
So that right there shows my level of commitment.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and it didn't match what they were willing to do. And so I think that question is really important to ask, you know, when you get to that point. Yeah.
That was very heartfelt.
I know. Fuck. Let's get on the piss. But yeah, I was listening to a podcast he did with Michaela Peterson, where, you know, anyone who hasn't listened to it, listen to it. Michaela Peterson, really awesome. Matthew Hussey, fucking wicked. And it's just, I listened to that and I related to that so much, and I know that so many other people would relate to that.
Yeah.
And that really hit me very hard, because I probably should have had that conversation a lot earlier on than when it did, because I only ended up hurting that person, you know?
Life's all about growth.
There's a lot of growth in discomfort, 100%. And,
lessons
you know,
and blessings.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Hope you learned something.
Should we leave it on a brighter note?
What's the brighter note?
This is episode 18. I'm buying some trainers, copying Dwayne's style. We got some merch coming out eventually when I get to it. And some other stuff.
Hold for like a thumbnail.
Hold for a thumbnail.
Yeah. And that's us. All right, thank you, everyone. Have a nice day or night or whenever you're listening to this.
Peace and love.
And it's been an absolute pleasure.
Stay safe.
Bye.